husband, one wife.
Both true crime fans.
A different case every episode.
One terrifying story at a time.
I'm Carla.
And I'm Phil. Welcome to Terrifying and Twisted. Welcome back.
Hey up, episode 9.
Episode 9.
What did people think of episode 8? Did you think it was suicide?
Did you think that how Carla described it was remotely funny?
George of the fucking jungle.
George of the fucking jungle.
Oh, I think the amount of people that have commented and agreed that they don't believe for 1 second that it was suicide.
No.
And obviously we've got to be really careful because we're not accusing anybody.
Because we're not laughing at the fact that someone's died or a child has died.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But as a whole, the case just does not make sense.
Nope.
I've really enjoyed that episode, though.
Yeah, so did I. It's probably my favourite one that you've done so far.
Yeah. I do feel like I'm just getting a bit more comfortable, and that always helps.
Yep.
So, Mr. Hopkins, what have we been up to?
Kids' olders, 6-week olders.
Still, it feels like an eternity.
So yeah, 3 kids. So that's been happening. Went to that football factory, didn't we, with his youngest?
Oh, that yard ball.
Yeah.
In Sheffield.
In Sheffield, I whooped him at that.
He was so confident, wasn't he?
Yeah, I beat him by 700 points.
He's like, I'm the one that plays football.
So what I usually do is I write down some of the stuff that we've been watching as I do my case. So first thing I wrote down was Toxic Love Story on Netflix.
Yeah, the police officer, the girl, she got locked up, didn't she?
Catfishing.
Yes.
No spoilers, Carla.
Oh, sorry.
But if you haven't watched it, watch it.
Yeah, Toxic Love Story. Toxic Love Story?
Yeah.
Netflix.
Carla had it sussed out in about 20 minutes. And I think that's the best thing about watching stuff like this with a true crime fan. They're like, right, he did it, or he did this, or he did that. They're very quick.
Because
not every time you're right.
We recognise patterns.
But that comes towards murder or something like that, we're like, oh yeah, we know.
Yeah. We do laugh at each other because we always come up with our conclusion within 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good one to watch.
The Idaho 4 documentary came out on Netflix, but we haven't watched that.
No. Because
we've watched quite a few things on it.
Yeah, we've watched the Prime one, the previous Netflix one.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like there's nothing new.
No.
In them.
No.
So, yeah, we haven't watched it. And I have heard quite similar reviews that there's nothing new. So, whether we'll watch it or not who knows.
We got as first, request for a podcast case read, which I'm doing, and it won't be this episode, it'll be the next episode that I do, so that'll be episode...
3 week.
Episode 11.
Yeah.
It's a balmy one. So yeah, let's just say that.
You've had to take quite a few breaks from researching it, haven't you?
Well, these last 2 podcasts that I've wrote, I've wanted to get to the end. I'm like thankful that I've done it now. All I have to do is read it.
Yeah.
So we'll jump straight into episode 9, which is me this time. Before I do my case read, as usual, we'll do a trigger warning. So this true crime podcast episode contains graphic details, discussion of graphic violence and murder, discussion of severe physical abuse, and the murder of a child. Listener discretion is strongly advised. So, there are nights that become unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Not because anyone expected tragedy, but because everything about that night seemed so ordinary. Families laughed together, children played without a care in the world. Friends made plans for the future, unaware that within hours, lives will be changed forever. The evening of 25th of May 1997 was one of those nights. It was Memorial Day weekend, and thousands of travellers were making their way along to the interstates to Las Vegas, Nevada.
So we're in Vegas.
For many people, driving on an interstate 15, the small town of Prim was a good place to stop for food and entertainment. So, Interstate 15 is just outside main Las Vegas, 43 miles south of it. So, Prim was a good place to stop for a few hours of gambling before carrying on to Vegas. Here was the Prima Donna Resort and Casino, and as you would expect on a holiday weekend, it will buzz in. Slots are ringing, waitresses are carrying drinks, and people are pulled in by the flashing lights and the hopes of winning cash and prizes. From Long Beach, California, 18-year-old Jeremy Strohmeyer and his close friend David Cash had decided to go to the small town of Prim along with David Cash's father. A bit of background on Jeremy: he had adoptive parents, Winnie and John, and they were a really wealthy family.
Rich.
Yeah, I think they had their own plane.
Right, okay.
He was smart, he took advanced classes, he built his own computers, wrote poetry, and hoped to join West Point or the Air Force to become a pilot. Jeremy's real father had been in and out of prison for drug charges, and his mum was diagnosed schizophrenic, confined to psychiatric wards for a lot of her life. Apparently his biological mum was committed over 70 times.
Wow.
Jeremy, as a teenager, had been playing up for a while. Some of the things were typical teenager things: drinks, drugs. Others were not. Stealing cars, him and his mates would drive around and harass people. He'd fire BB guns at homeless people. He smashed eggs in sex workers' faces. And he once did what he called a whore drag, which is grabbing a sex worker's arm at the side of the car and driving in the car while he still held her. One of the other things that got reported is him throwing a kitten out of a moving car.
All the typical signs then.
He'd spend hours on his computer visiting websites named Nasty, Hardcore Heaven, Erotic World. He downloaded videos and photos, and a lot of it later found to be child porn. Videos with titles such as My Daughter at 5 and Slamming at 6.
Fucking hell.
Showing his friends pictures of naked amputees and women with bottles inserted in themselves.
It sounds like a delight.
Just so you all know, Carla has set it up for TikTok Live.
Yeah, we're streaming to TikTok Live for the first time ever.
I don't know if some of this stuff might make it on TikTok Live.
Well, we'll see.
So if his account gets fucking banned, it's your fault. Around 2 days before this trip, records show that he'd logged onto the internet using his username Flyboy1030 and spoke to a man named LITLLUVR, which says Little Lover.
Right.
Little Lover messaged him saying, "Do you like little girls?" Jeremy wrote back saying, "Very much so." The reply came, "Cool, how young?" To which he replied, "I've never had the chance to try anything, but I fantasize all the time. Probably about 5 to 6 years old." As darkness settled over Nevada desert, the casino grew even busier, and among the bright lights and busy crowds was 7-year-old Sharice Iverson. She had travelled with relatives, excited to spend time together over the weekend. The arcade was busy, filled with the sounds of racing and shooting games, basketball machines and pinball tables, parents and grandparents keeping one eye on the gaming floor and another on children, weaving between the machines. Now this is the 80s and 90s, which were a bit more relaxed. Parents often allowed kids to run about. After all, there's bright lights, security staff, CCTV, not very good CCTV, but CCTV, and families everywhere. Danger seemed like the last thing anyone needed to think about. Sharice was there with her father Leroy and her brother Harold, who I believe was 13, 14 at the time. Their 54-year-old father had drove there to gamble. Although the Iverson household had its own separate issues, Leroy was apparently a doting dad. He did not trust babysitters with his kids, hence him taking them with him to Vegas. Sharice was very trusting as a 7-year-old. She loved her hair in braids, loved the colour purple and the Little Mermaid. She was scared of the dark and always wanted to be a policeman or a nurse. So when they arrived at this casino around midnight, Leroy told Harold that he was in charge of his sister. He gave them $5 each for the arcades and headed to gamble. $5 now won't get you fuck all.
Not even a Gwant claw machine.
Now it's said that he didn't have enough money for a hotel room for the kids to stay in.
But he had enough money to gamble.
Yeah, that's...
Who are we to judge?
A few times Sharice had actually got lost and security had fetched Sharice back to him, including one time where she had gone to a casino across the street. Security apparently had spoken to the then drunk Leroy and told him to mind his kids or leave. He brushed these instructions off and carried on gambling.
Security can't have been very good if she's got out of the casino and gone across the road into another one.
Well, it's not their job to look after her, is it?
No, I know. But that's why he felt she was safe.
Around 3 a.m, Sharice actually crashed to sleep in the seat of a car racing game. And for a short while she slept. And then she woke back up because, obviously, it's a casino. You're not going to get...
loud, yeah.
Yeah. A short while later, she was back awake, chasing her brother around, throwing paper planes and paper balls at each other, until one of these paper balls landed at the feet of Jeremy Strohmeyer. He picked it up and threw it back at her, and for a further 11 minutes he chased her around playfully, running up and down this arcade, playing hide and seek. So we've got a 6-foot, 18-year-old chasing a 7-year-old who barely weighed 4 stone that he does not know.
And this 18-year-old already has fantasies.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Seen on CCTV, which you can watch on YouTube Shorts. It's a very, very grainy CCTV, but you can make out Sharice and you can make out Jeremy Strohmeyer. Apparently, Jeremy whispers to Sharice that the only place that she is safe from him is the toilets. At 3:47 a.m, Sharice runs into the ladies' toilets while her older brother was speaking to some young girl. Jeremy follows Sharice into the bathroom, and a few seconds later is then closely followed by his friend David Cash. So there's Jeremy, there's Sharice, and there's David Cash in these toilets.
And not one person's going to be able to hear a little girl scream in a casino.
Inside this bathroom, they carried on throwing wet towels at each other, and at one point, Sharice had got a wet floor sign, and I think she'd thrown it at him or gone towards it with him, and it grazed Jeremy's arm. And then something in Jeremy snapped. Jeremy grabbed her, covering her mouth, and carried her into the handicap stall and locked it. David jumped into the stall beside him and stood on the toilet, looking over the top.
Watching.
David saw Sharice struggling and fighting, with Jeremy telling her to shut up or he was going to kill her, still covering her mouth. David apparently was telling him to let her go. Jeremy stared up at him with a glazed, crazy look. So David got off the toilet and left little Sharice alone in that bathroom. He was in that bathroom 2 minutes on CCTV. David Cash.
So he tried for 2 minutes to get him to stop and then just walked out.
Yeah.
Tried
Now
everything.
this next bit's not nice. So this is your warning. Jeremy took off Sharice's boots and her underwear and molested her. Panicking from her screams, he squeezed her neck, Someone came into the ladies' toilets and he sat on her stomach, placing her legs around him. So it looked like one person was in the toilet. He continued to hold his hand over her mouth, so he's crushing her as he sat on this toilet. And when he's turned round, he said that she's not moving, she's non-responsive. In his statement, he said he could not let her survive and be a vegetable for the rest of her life. So using both hands, he told the police he twisted her head like he'd seen in the movies, attempting to snap her neck.
Fucking hell.
He put her boots and her underwear and her clothes in the toilet bowl. He lifted her up and put her legs in the toilet and folded her body over her legs so she's completely off the floor. Using toilet paper, he wiped the blood and foam from Sharice's mouth, threw the paper on the floor, closed the door behind him, and 24 minutes later, after he first entered that restroom, he left behind Sharice's lifeless body.
That's fucking horrific.
As he came out, apparently he said to David, "I've just killed that little girl in there." Nothing was said.
David did nothing.
So when officers arrived at the casino, the atmosphere has completely changed. Short time earlier, the resort had been filled with the sounds of holidaymakers enjoying their Memorial Day weekend. I don't know why it's called Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Now, concern flooded through the building. A 7-year-old had disappeared and every minute increased the urgency. Before long, the search came to a devastating end. The crime scene was secured and detectives got to work. Although CCTV was far less sophisticated than it is today, they still had it, and detectives reviewed the footage available to them, who had been near the restroom and when. David and Jeremy carried on with that Vegas trip without a care in the world, plotting about what they'd say if they're ever to be questioned. The morning after they got home from Vegas, they woke up to the video footage on the news. It didn't take long for them to be recognised by people from school, and people knew they were going to Vegas.
So you want her to put two and two together?
Now, in this time between him coming home from Vegas and this video footage coming out, it said that he told multiple students about it.
So
But he was the kind of guy that he'd joke about sick shit. So they took it with a pinch of salt until, obviously, they saw the video footage.
Yeah.
3 days after Sharice was murdered, and after he tried making a run for it, they arrested him. Jeremy waived the right to a lawyer while being interviewed and confessed to the murder. Giving police the details, David went to the police station and gave his series of events. He had her in the stall and I left her, and he said he killed her. Jeremy was charged with first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping and sexual assault of a minor. He then, obviously, hired a defence lawyer. And when I looked into it, it is said that this defence lawyer was the same defence lawyer for the Menendez brothers, or one of.
Oh, really?
And then obviously he starts changing his story, saying he was high and couldn't remember and thinks maybe David could have done it. So Jeremy's trial was due to begin September 98. He was facing the death penalty. But before trial, he entered a plea bargain and pled guilty to the 4 charges: first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, sexual assault on a minor with substantial bodily harm, and sexual assault on a minor. He was sentenced to 4 life terms to be served consecutively with possibility of parole. He has tried appealing it a few times, saying that his lawyer lied to him. He's actually got married inside in 2009. And side note, in October 1999, his adoptive parents filed a $1 million lawsuit against LA County and adoption workers, claiming they withheld important information about his real biological parents, saying they would not have adopted him if they'd have known.
Had they known?
So, David Cash. Sharice Iverson's mother demanded that David Cash also be charged as an accessory to murder, but authorities stated there was insufficient evidence connecting him to the actual crime, and Cash was never prosecuted for any offence related to the murder. Cash will be labelled the Bad Samaritan and became the target of a campaign by students who attempted to get him kicked out of UC Berkeley for not stopping the crime. I read stuff like he got spat on, stuff like that.
Nobody's going to want him about if he just did the bystander effect.
That's not the kicker with David Cash.
Okay.
Here are some of the things that he said to media. Quote, "I'm not going to get upset over somebody else's life. I just worry about myself first. I don't feel there is much I could have done different, really. I didn't want to be the one to turn him in. He's also my best friend."
That's all right then.
Next one. "I do not know this little girl." Another. "I do not know starving children in Panama. I do not know people that died of a disease in Egypt." Next one. "There is not a chance that I will go to jail simply because I have done nothing wrong."
What a selfish piece of shit.
So David Cash is a piece of shit as well.
You literally were in that toilet. You saw what were happening.
Yeah, you literally saw what it was.
And you just walked out.
Like, he's quoted as saying, he looked up at me with a crazed look in his eye.
Why not go get some help? Why not go...
He just carried on back in the casino. So, that is the case read of the casino child murder.
That's horrific.
It is really. I want nice to do.
That poor girl.
It was the bathroom that did it for me. It made me feel sick.
Yeah, the actual crime. That's horrific. How long did it take for anybody to notice that you were missing?
I've no idea. It just said that it won't long.
Because did you say you were in that toilet a total
of 24 minutes, and in them 24 minutes, a set of ladies obviously came in, but then he obviously kept quiet.
Yeah. It was the way he says, "I couldn't let her live the rest of her life."
As a vegetable.
Oh, how fucking noble of you.
So I hope you enjoyed that case read.
No, I didn't. Enjoyed's not the right word. Do you know what it did make me think, though? Going back to your Cannibal Cop episode with the fantasy crossing a line.
Yeah.
This is a pure example of that fantasy crossing the line. He'd spoken to this person online, admitted that he had this fantasy, admitted the age of the child. And all it took was one opportunity.
Yeah, one single opportunity. In such a busy place as well.
That's mad.
And let's be honest, if it wasn't Sharice, it'd have been someone else.
It'd have been somebody else, absolutely. And do you know what? I can't help but think, were it 99?
1997.
So 97. They were the days where we used to go to the pub with his grandparents. We used to fall asleep on pub benches.
Well, I'd have been 12, 13, and where I lived, we could just run down fields and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was deemed safer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
No, it's not a nice one.
Right, well. Honestly, I'm just like I could have cried.
Yeah, it broke my heart, right, innit?
When you discussed the bathroom scene, I could have cried.
Yeah. But that's what true crime's about. You get to learn about these monsters that are fucking out there.
Yeah.
Because They are.
I remember somebody saying to me and you about his daughter, well, does she really need to know about all this true crime that you watch? And you're like, yeah, because there's monsters out there. Like,
Yeah.
she's not... Nobody's exempt
No.
from these monsters.
You need to be careful because they're fucking out there.
Wow. Well,
Please come back for episode 10.
yeah, please do. I'm not going to say I hope you enjoyed that, but I hope that Phil did a good job of reading that. I think he did.
It's just not. It's not nice to read, but
Now I understand why you said that
I need a break.
you need a break from child
Yeah.
crime.
My next one is not just child murders. This is the one that got requested, but it does have child murders in. The next one that I'm doing after that, I'm doing an unsolved or something like that because I can't do 3 child murders in a row. I can't do it.
Yeah.
If you need a break, then you know you need a break. When I first got into true crime, just side note, I used to listen to true crime podcasts continuously for 8 hours cleaning windows. It used to be podcast after podcast after podcast, all true crime. And it got to a point where I was like, I need a fucking break.
Yeah, I remember. You just have
Because
to...
it's depressing me.
Yeah, and it is depressing.
Yeah.
But it's
So I don't
real.
know if anyone else feels like that, but I definitely feel like that. As much as I like looking at true crime and watching true crime, there is points where I think, fuck, I need a break.
We've done it before in terms of watching things.
Yeah.
We've hammered series or documentary after documentary, and then we've gone, right, we need to watch some
Reality trash
trash TV to get
Yeah.
away from it because it's just too much.
So thank you.
Right, well, we'll see you back for episode 10.
Please give us a like, a follow, a comment, all that shit.
Yeah, as always, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.